What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market and how this is affecting Tesla, and what we saw today, which is actually another good sign for Tesla investors. I'm going to break down the data that's coming out very soon for Tesla and what the market is doing right now and how this may affect Tesla going forward. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just one day, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So I'm recording this 1 minute before the market closes, and so far Tesla is getting a bit of a push up with the overall market to end the year. This is the last trading day of the year, and Tesla is about to close with the market. So very interesting to see how things are playing out. I can actually adjust this real quick. Let's hope I get this all here before the market closes. But what's very interesting is we're getting a nice push right now. Tesla is trying to continue going up. SPY is going to be on my right side. And we could see Tesla's actually approaching, or it's getting very close to this resistance level. So I think the market just closed. Tesla closed around 123 bucks a share, and my target yesterday was around this 125 area. I was going to watch that for Tesla. We came a little bit short as the market came down just a bit, but we did see the market actually push up a bit just to end the day. So very interesting to see. And we did actually try to go for the gap fill on SPY. Very nice to see that happen. And this is actually a good sign that we are seeing some nice buying pressure. We're seeing lots of open interest for these particular options. And specifically for today, we saw a big spike in the puts to call ratio. We saw lots of put buyers coming in. We saw lots and lots of people anticipating a big drop. And instead, the market, it dropped a little bit, but it was not that extreme. We may have seen some of these shorts seeing some pain. What else is interesting is, for once, I think max pain was at 382 on SPY. It was actually around 383, so very, very close. And you could see SPY closed just below it, came very close to max pain. We could see the market maker manipulation that was actually happening in real time. The put to call ratio went down a little bit. The last time I checked, it was like 2.0 on SPY. So that's a good sign that lots of these puts were closed. We saw some hedging by them buying maybe temporarily. And we could see, all right, the market continued to push up going into 2023 temporarily. And that would be good for Tesla. What else is good is SPY is barely, at the time I'm recording this, it's down about 0.28%. It's almost down 0.3%. Tesla's up 1.12%. So Tesla had a green day. SPY was red again. Once again, a good sign for Tesla. So this is good because now Tesla is showing some nice relative strength, starting to hold up. And I do expect it to actually retest this resistance zone relatively soon. From a technical standpoint, we're just talking about technicals right now. Tesla's looking a lot better. It showed signs of a nice bounce. It was oversold for quite a while. Look at the price pairs ratio, very oversold. It was very weak. It's starting to get those bounces. When this would drop to these low levels, it tends to see a bit of a bounce. It tends to outperform the market temporarily. And that's what I'm anticipating for Tesla to do temporarily. Right here, we had another very similar formation around near the end of November when Tesla got a bit of a bounce. That is what this is basically telling us. We could see this very low ratio right here. Nice balance relative to SPY. Compared to QQQ, very similar story, right? Tesla was underperforming. Now this thing is actually trying to balance right here. Once again, outperforming the QQQ and SPY. Now, with Morgan Stanley and many other analysts becoming more bullish on Tesla, that's a good sign. This stock is getting more interest. It's getting more attention. We're seeing more volume. Big improvements are being made. Now, I want to note to everyone that for next week, the market's going to be closed on Monday. Okay, we're not going to be trading on Monday. And I believe by Monday, hopefully, the data should be out about Tesla's deliveries and their production. That's also going to be very big to watch for. the short interest actually went up a little bit more. So we saw lots of shorting. And if this thing is overly shorted, what this tells me is we're going to see shorts start to cover if this thing makes violent moves to the upside. If Tesla has another like 5% day, another 10% day, shorts are going to start covering. That gives Tesla a bigger edge over the shorts. But in order for Tesla to see more upside from this point, all right, we need the market to hold up. I do think the market plays somewhat of a role. We can see it was helping Tesla at the very end of the day, but also the delivery report is going to be very important. Now, I don't know if deliveries alone are going to be the bigger thing. Production should be pretty big too. But if deliveries are not as good, this could lead to some concerns from investors about whether or not demand is high for the EV sector and whether or not Tesla is going to meet a lot of their goals. Now, I'm not as worried about that. I can't really say too much about this until the data comes out, but there are some projections from analysts, and these are different analysts who are saying Tesla could still meet the production expectations. We could see 50% growth year over year. And many other people out there, many analysts are saying they could reach about 420,000 deliveries. This is actually a decrease from their previous targets of 450,000 deliveries. So it's a bit of a different tone. It's a shift in sentiment. This did play a role in why Tesla was actually dropping. Now, I personally don't know exactly how this is going to play out. I believe, in my opinion, however, if I could like predict anything, I'm not as confident about them meeting delivery expectations. That's just my guts telling me that it's because of what's happening in China, but I don't know for sure. For production, I think they have a good chance at actually meeting the expectations. I think they're going to do it. I'm going to put my faith in them. If they don't, it is what it is, but I'm going to just try to be optimistic and say that Tesla will meet the goal. They should come very close to it at the very least. So I'm very confident in their production capabilities. Now, as their overall threshold is dropping, I wouldn't be too worried about how the stock ends up responding to this. What else is interesting is Tesla actually tweeted that the 4680 cell team achieved 868,000 cells built in the last 7 days. That's equal to 1,000 cars worth. That's incredible, incredible work that they are doing. They're ramping up production very hard in Fremont as well, not to mention parts all over the world. And I believe, like I said, Tesla is set for some crazy big moves. Now, there has been a lot of talk for 2023 for Tesla to actually give us another Gigafactory announcement. It could come very soon as well, because that could be like the icing or like the cherry on top for this cake or whatever, this analogy that I'm using. This could be very good for them. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. So, what do I think the share price is going to do? It's going to depend heavily on deliveries. And because I mentioned that Tesla will most likely do pretty decently or pretty well, in my opinion, I do believe it's a little more likely for this thing to continue going to the upside. But if they fail, right, we still have these gaps to the downside. And eventually the market is going to come down by the second week of January. In my opinion, we're going to see a big, big drop. I'm going to make another video about that where I go into more details about SPY because I could actually talk for a very long time about that. I don't want to make this video too long. For Tesla, what else is good is the setup we are seeing. This is resembling, in my opinion, this almost looks like an inverse head and shoulders like formation. And we are seeing Tesla on the daily. Let me just pull up the daily chart. We are seeing Tesla. It's just completely far below the 200 EMA, the 50 EMA, the 20 EMA. We're below everything. The 20 moving average, we're just nowhere near any of these. So it really shows how oversold this thing is. And if we use a different time frame like the 60-minute time frame, you could see we're actually on the verge of seeing this starting to reclaim these moving averages. We're actually very close to, we're actually above, we closed above the 50 moving average. That's a pretty decent sign for Tesla. And that is a sign of strength, in my opinion, as we are starting to see the 50 moving average curl up, whereas this 200 moving average is pretty much on this downtrend still. It's going to start curling too. So we could see them get a little bit closer as these moving averages begin to curl. That's once again a good sign of strength for the stock. What else I'm seeing is this resistance zone. I do think Tesla could break this, but first we need to see that data. How does the data come out? Now, let me just talk about some hypothetical situations before I end this video. Remember, it's the end of the year. There's going to be no more trading for 2022. We made it, we survived. So for next year, I do believe it's going to be a shaky year. I don't think it's going to be the best of years for trading, at least if you want to be like just a bull. I don't think we're going to get a straight up bull market for the majority of the year. I think it's going to be very choppy. It's going to be a very kangaroo like market. But to start off the year, we're going to have one last relief rally temporarily for the first week before a big crash that starts by the second week of January. Now, for Tesla, what do I see this thing doing? We have some potential setups. Like I mentioned before, this nice inverse head and shoulders like formation. Left shoulder, right shoulder could be forming. If we're going to form the right shoulder, we may have already formed the bottom end from here. And then that would mean that there is potential for a big move to the upside. We also have this gap up here. All right, it's worth noting we have this gap all the way up here around this 137 zone, which is right above where the previous support, which is now resistance, is at 136. So could we see Tesla actually make it there? I believe it's very possible. It's also worth noting on the 15-minute, we're very close to the 200 moving average. Once again, if we break above that, that's going to be a very good sign for Tesla. On the 30 minutes, we're actually farther away from it, but this happens to be around this 142 level. So could Tesla get back to the 140s? It looks like it could do this from a technical standpoint, but I can't say too much until we get the deliveries report. So we just have to be very patient from that end. And that's really all I could say from this point on. Now, as far as Elon Musk goes, excuse me, sorry guys. Elon Musk, he hasn't really done or like said anything too significant recently other than the fact that he's very bullish for the long term on Tesla. He did mention to many of the employees via email that Tesla is going to be the most valuable company on the planet. So he's very confident Tesla's market cap is going to go back to the trillions. He's still very bullish, and I'm sure we could all agree on that. Not financial advice, by the way, when we see the big pieces of innovation that are coming from this company. So I see this as a big opportunity, but I just want to note to everyone, okay? Even if we get another big push to the upside thanks to deliveries and things like that, that does not mean that downside is over for the EV sector, for Tesla, and for the market. There's going to be another crash coming. Tesla could come back down to these levels in the future by the time we get to like mid January, by the time we get to February. I know I'm talking a little bit ahead of myself, but there are still gaps to the downside. All right, so please be very careful when playing this. But, anyways, for the super short term, from a technical standpoint, this looks more bullish. It's very oversold, but we still need to see the data that comes out in the next couple of days. So thank you all so much for listening. Be ready. As of right now, Tesla is looking strong from a technical standpoint. It's outperforming SPY in the QQQ. It looks like it wants to keep going, and I hope the data helps us. I hope Tesla could keep going. As long as the data is good, pretty decent, and Tesla does well, this thing has so much potential for the short term to push up. This thing could squeeze, all right? Don't forget about the short interest going up to this very high level, the highest we've seen since I believe since the beginning of October. So very high short interest, very good chance of a squeeze if it keeps going up. Thank you all for listening. Have a great weekend. I should record a video tomorrow, hopefully, if I have time. And then I will give you guys an update on New Year's. And then finally, for Monday, I will record another video and give you guys a very good consensus of what I see Tesla in the market doing. I will go into a lot of details for Monday because of the fact that the market's closed, so we have lots of time on our hands to discuss things. And the market's going to be reopening on Tuesday of next week, so don't forget that. Anyways, thank you for listening. Have a great weekend. Have a happy new year, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon because the long-term future is still incredibly bright, and peace out.